Athletes, take your mark. Get set. It's time for the Addict Athlete Podcast. Everybody, Coach Blue here. Before we get rocking and rolling today, I want to give thanks to everyone who's been downloading and listening to the podcast. Specifically, if you've been able to share this with someone, get it into the hands of people that need the help. Addict Athlete can be used for all kinds of addictions, not just drugs or alcohol, but the whole gamut. So don't be afraid to jump in and share this podcast and give us some feedback on our social media pages. So athletes, we got some neat things on the web. Make sure you check us out on addictathlete.org, social media, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Heck, even TikTok, which is a little bit strange because we're a little older than the TikTok population, but go check us out because it definitely gives you some funny input and some strategies for recovery. As always, thanks Jimmy Chunga and the Radio Ronin Show for allowing us to be on the podcast and for hosting us and putting us out there. I really appreciate all the work and effort they're doing. Okay, athletes, we have a great experience ahead of you, specifically with our online coaching. So if you want to be a sober coach and open a chapter of Addict to Athlete, jump on our website, email Marissa at addict2athlete.org, and we'll get you signed up to help out with the movement that is sober coaching. There's so much effort and help that needs to be done that we want to provide this for you to get in there and really help your community. It's a great way to expand your professional career, but also to give back to your community. So let's just jump into business. We want to talk a little bit today about someone who I just barely met, and I don't even know the story yet. But he's been talking with our athletic director, Marissa Robinson, and I'm excited to talk to, well, I don't know if I should call you a doctor or just, Mr. Hemmert. Like, what works best for you, brother?
Whatever you want, Jared. The people at work call me Dr. Hemmert. Dr.
Hemmert, or Jared, or as we're going to know him now, Athlete Hemmert, right? Here we go. But he's reached out to Team Addict Athlete and wanted to share his story. And after I heard a little bit about it, I thought this is definitely a person that we need to get on our podcast because I think you've got some experiences and some situational stuff that could probably help a lot of people. So welcome to the team officially. And why don't we just jump into it, brother? Tell us a little bit about you, and we'll kind of go from there because I'm sure I'll have tons of questions.
Okay. I grew up in Orem, Utah, not far from here.
Right.
Grew up in a kind of a big family, 6 kids. Went to Hillcrest Elementary and Lake Ridge and Orem High.
That's your stomping ground.
Class of '93.
Nice.
And it was a great childhood. Just had a great parents, awesome memories growing up. Very loving family, raised in the LDS faith. Mm-hmm. I went to high school, graduated, and went on and served a mission for the LDS Church.
Okay.
In Oslo, Norway.
Wow. And
that was awesome. I've got some Viking blood in me, so it was fun to
get back to the roots.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. And after that, I went to the University of Utah. I'm a science nerd, so I majored in chemistry.
Right on. Okay.
And had a good time there, and decided I wanted to do something with healthcare. Mm-hmm. My father's a physician, renowned gastroenterologist in the valley here, and I didn't want to do medicine because I saw how much he worked. I never saw him. Well,
right.
I kind of saw him.
Yeah,
but
here and there.
God, he worked a lot. And I didn't want that lifestyle, so I decided to do dentistry. And I'm really good with my hands. Growing up, I worked at Pedersen Ski & Sports at the University Mall.
Oh, yeah.
I was a ski and bike tech for years.
Oh,
there.
Brilliant.
So I loved mountain biking.
Yeah.
That was like my passion in high school was mountain biking and skiing. And I got to do that for work, and so I got paid to like fix bikes and mount skis and tune and wax skis and snowboards and stuff.
That's the Lord's work in my eyes.
Totally.
I'm with you.
And so I was a ski bum in high school and a mountain bike guy. That was my passion. And then I went to class after that.
Nice. Secondary.
Yeah.
I dig it.
And so so I was great with my hands. I thought, that'd be a good career. Maybe I can be a dentist. So I ended up going to dental school. I went to Toronto, Ontario, Canada for dental school, University of Toronto. some people ask, well, why did you go to Toronto, Canada? But the University of Toronto is one of the top 5 dental schools in the whole world.
Right. So you want to go somewhere where you'll get the best education.
It was an extremely prestigious school, and I felt just so lucky and blessed to even get in there.
To be there.
And
what year was that?
99 to 2003.
Okay.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And had a wonderful experience up there. What an awesome school and what an awesome city that is.
I'll bet.
Very multicultural, completely different from Utah.
Yeah.
It's the biggest city in Canada.
Right. Lives up to its name.
It was an awesome experience. Came back and after graduation, and I started working as a dentist and in Orem. Came back home. Didn't really want to. I always planned on coming home.
Right.
So much. All my family's here, and
right.
And I wanted to have a family here, and et cetera, et cetera. So we came back here and started working, and
started doing that normal 9-to-5 grind, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started having back pain.
Oh. Probably something that they don't quite catch you for in dental school, but I'll bet you that part of it probably was a lot of the exhaustion you're going through.
Bad posture. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really learn a lot about ergonomics and how to posture myself properly when sitting for hours working on patients.
Yeah, like literally like hunched over too. Like that makes sense. Now that you say that, I mean, I wouldn't have even thought that until you said that, but that's how every dentist has to work.
Yeah. And,
gotcha.
I mean, I learned all the techniques and procedures and how to do all that stuff, but to sit properly and to position myself properly and to hold instruments properly so that it doesn't affect my my arms and shoulders and back, et cetera, in a bad way. I didn't really learn that.
Right.
And so I started having back pain, and it was tingling and this stabbing pain right in the middle of my back. Usually,
that's an awkward spot to start having back pain. You're right.
It is. Usually it's like lower back or neck, but it was right in the middle of my back. I'm like, what is this? And so one of my partners said, hey, go to the chiropractor, get an adjustment, so I went and did that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Didn't do anything. So then it got worse and worse. Went to the doctor. They took an x-ray and they did an MRI and saw that I had some bulging discs in the middle of my back, T8, T9, T10.
Wow.
Which is really a strange place to have bulging discs.
No kidding.
So I was like, great. So now what,
Here we go.
So I started doing all this non-surgical stuff.
Because you were still young, and I know that they don't want to do surgery on a young guy because watch out.
Exactly. And this was back in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay. And the pain's increasing, getting worse and worse. At one point, I started being prescribed an opioid medication for pain because it was bad.
Right.
And so I started taking that. In the meantime, I was going through all this non-surgical therapies, massage therapy, acupuncture, cortisone injections, chiropractics, and all these things. There was another procedure they tried called prolotherapy, where they inject dextrose in there and it creates inflammation, and the cells go in and try to heal the problem. And
holy cow! So every avenue
I did so many things. Yeah. So many things. And then. Even E-stim, and they use this. They can hook up electrodes and try and fix it that way. Nothing worked. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Because
you're still doing the same motions. You're still trying to overcorrect, but then you're trying to correct it, so you're probably hurting other places because of the overcorrection.
Right.
And I think sometimes people forget about that. Like you start babying something else is going to give.
Yeah.
And you start adding it up.
Yeah. So the next step was, let's have you go see a surgeon.
Right.
So, you have to go see a neurosurgeon. You just can't go to any surgeon. It's a neurosurgeon. These are specialized surgeons that just do the spine and the back.
Okay.
And there's only 3 here in the Provo area, and only one of them does thoracic spine. It's a very, very difficult area to operate on because the the way the bone comes off, it comes off at an angle, and it's really hard to get to.
Right. That makes sense.
So so I had, and I won't say any names here, but I had to go see this particular specialist. 9-month waiting list.
Oh my gosh!
As a new patient.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, it'd have to be.
So
there's
right.
only one. Yeah.
This guy's so specialized and so busy. 9 months. I mean, I even tried to get my dad to get me in sooner, which
like, hey, do you know
he's been able to do
someone?
that before.
Yeah,
didn't help.
No go.
So here I am in a lot of pain, and I have to wait 9 months. So now I'm taking opioids.
Right.
Not just for 2 or 3 weeks. Now it's for months.
Right.
We already know after you've taken it for a certain amount of days, your body starts becoming dependent.
Yep.
And you're going to go through withdrawals if you stop to take it, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm becoming dependent on the opioids, and I actually start feeling withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah. When you try to
shaking,
when you miss it or something.
Yeah, you
or
miss it or you're late, getting a little shaky, cold sweats.
Oh man.
And it's an awful feeling.
Yeah.
And then you become tolerant. That's another word, tolerant and dependence.
Yep.
So you become tolerant, which means you need a bigger dose.
Exactly.
To relieve the same amount of pain. So my tolerance keeps going up and up and up and up. So they're increasing dosage. Finally, they're maxed out on the dose on this guy, so they have to move up to this bigger stuff.
We're going to add you to another level of...
Right. You're going from hydrocodone to oxycodone.
Right.
And then eventually to hydromorphone, and then morphine.
Right up the ladder.
It's just, it's crazy how quick you can just go right up to the big heavy stuff.
Exactly.
You know? And as you're taking the big heavy stuff, the withdrawal symptoms are even worse and worse and worse. So now they're adding on a withdrawal medication, for the night sweats that you start going through. It's miserable.
Yeah, you become a slave to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I go the 9 months, tolerance and dependence is increasing. I'm taking a lot of opioids at this point just to function. And I go in and I meet with him and we schedule surgery. I have the surgery. I'm really psyched about the surgery because I'm going to get relief and get back my life.
Exactly. You got things you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the surgery, no relief. Didn't help at all.
Oh, man.
They did what's called a discectomy, where they snip a little kind of a triangle out of the bulge, and the idea is the bulge will go back in to take the place of the little piece they snipped out, so it'll slide back in. Didn't help.
Yeah.
They also did what's called a laminectomy, where they kind of ream out the holes where the big nerves come out. The idea of you have a pinched nerve. That's going to relieve the pinched nerve.
Give it lessen the pressure on there. So, yeah. And none.
Nothing. So here I am. So now I'm getting really depressed. I'm taking a ton of opioid medication.
Right.
And I'm just totally frustrated. And
how old are you at this time too? Because you're not that. You're still a young guy.
29, 30.
So it's like this is not what a 29, 30-year-old's supposed to be going through health-wise.
No.
Oh man.
No, not at all. And and obviously I can't do anything that I normally do. I can't ski. I can't mountain bike. I can't do any of this stuff. So I'm getting really depressed. It's hard to sleep. You start losing hope. You know. And I've got little boys running around. I can't do fun stuff.
Can't be the dad that you want to be. Yeah, man.
So I'm basically resigned to the fact that, okay, I've got this severe back pain. I've had surgery. I've done all this other stuff, and I'm kind of just stuck where I am. And there comes a point where you don't realize you're addicted to the medication. Yeah. But you really are addicted to the medication.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's the last thing you want to do is because you don't have the same precursors that, like, say, a typical drug addict would have.
Right.
And so, of course, that's the last thing you're going to call yourself. So you still think, well, it's a medical reason. There's got to be something else going on, and I can't function without this. But yet, under that same umbrella, you'd be considered a drug addict.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. So, March 21st, 2006, big day in my life. Huge mistake. I ran out of my medication early.
Right.
And I'm a doctor, dentist, My dad's a doctor, right?
Right.
and I'm panicked. I've like run out like a week and a half early, totally panicked because I'm such an addict.
Yeah.
But I don't realize I'm an addict. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? How am I going to survive?
Not a lot of options.
I need medication.
Yep.
My doctor's, the signs on his door says, if you run out of medication early, tough luck, you know. And you sign a contract with them. Opioid prescriptions, this was a pain guy, so he was already kind of on top of this stuff.
Right.
And I wasn't shopping around other doctors. I was just going to him and just, because I'm a dentist. I'm not like this druggy doctor shopper, go to all these different pharmacies, different doctors. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did it feel like that to you though? Were the times like when you would go to the pharmacy or something, you'd be like, I'll bet you they think that I'm like really shopping?
Not really, because they knew that I was a dentist and
right.
I had a relationship with a pharmacist.
So you never felt like anybody else was like
never.
Judgment or pointing fingers. It's kind of all in your own head of like, okay, I got you.
Never.
Good.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm panicked, and my addict brain is telling me, you have to do something right now. You're not going to be able to survive tomorrow with the withdrawals and the back pain.
See, and I think so many people forget that aspect, and whether you're, you know, in like legitimate pain or if you're in emotional pain, at that point, it doesn't matter. It's you got these warning systems in your head that's saying you're going to get wicked sick, you're going to get really bad, and there's that whole like physical component to it that a lot of people that don't get themselves involved in this kind of stuff don't understand. They think it's as easy as just saying stop, I'm done.
Right.
There's so many other factors to this. So you start getting into that fight or flight response and like, I've got to do something.
Totally.
That's where you were.
And rational thinking goes out the window.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so I'm panicked. I'm thinking of all these different things I could do. You even start thinking, well, gosh, my mom might have some in her cabinet, or my dad might have some in his medicine cabinet. I can go sneak up there and get some. Yeah. All these different ideas start popping in my head. Anyway, I remembered my dad has his prescription pad on his desk at home, and it has all of his partners' names and their DEA numbers. To prescribe an opioid, it's a controlled substance. You have to have a DEA number. Right. They have their DEA numbers on their prescription pad. People don't do that today. Yeah. But back then they still did.
A little easier access. Yeah.
So light goes off my head. Oh, I can just pretend I'm one of my dad's partners, call this prescription in for myself and go pick it up. Right. Problem solved.
Yep.
Right.
No harm, no foul. Right.
So I go ahead and do that. I go to the pharmacy to pick it up, and I'm sitting there outside of the pharmacy, and I'm having this moment. Good guy on my right shoulder, the devil's on my left shoulder.
Classic, yeah.
He's saying, do it, Jared, do it. And this is, don't do it, Jared. You know this isn't right. This isn't honest. This is bad. This is against the law. Yep. But the bad guy here and the addict in me was overpowering.
Of course.
And
he had more leverage at that time.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah. So I drive up to the window to pick up the prescription. And like, oh, yeah, we've got it right here. He has the bag, you know, and ready to go. He's like, wait 1 second. And he turns around, and he's stalling. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, this isn't normal.
This is weird. He's stalling. A couple minutes go by. This doesn't feel right.
Right.
Something's not right. All of a sudden, 3 police cars pull right around.
Just there.
The cops, lights going, cops come out. A couple of them have guns.
Oh, because they're thinking the other drug addict. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is happening. This is really happening. Yeah. I've never been in trouble before. Right. You know, ever. I get out of they come up and I hand them. He passed me the bag and everything, and I handed him the bag, and they arrested me. Obviously.
Yeah, right then and there.
Right then and there. Put me in the back of the car, put me in handcuffs. That was shocking.
Right.
You know,
because again, you're thinking I'm not that person.
Right.
Yeah. But your addict brain's like, yeah, you are that person, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I can totally see it, brother.
I'm not a criminal.
Yeah. What an absolute intense emotion that had to have been.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. Just pure shock. I was in shock. And I remember riding in the car down, and I was crying. And I was just telling the officer everything, obviously.
Right.
And he was telling me he was so sorry for me, and he felt some.
They probably
empathy.
realized pretty fast that you weren't the kind of guy that's like going to go out and hustle and sell them. And
right.
Yeah, gotcha.
And it was a Friday. They don't do bail hearings on Saturdays.
They do not. Mm-hmm.
So he told me, you're going to be in here over the weekend. And I was like, what? What does that mean? Huh?
Yeah. You're like, where's my one phone call? Yeah, seriously.
So anyway, they checked me in. The whole process, I was in total shock. Because, again, I've never been in trouble before.
Right.
Never had an experience with police officers, handcuffs, being jail, any of that. So I was in total shock at that point. And, you have to get undressed. They check everything for drugs. They treat you just like, anyone else.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
No.
Not fun at all. The fingerprinting, the mug shots. Then you have to dress up in the orange scrubs.
The orange,
and the jail shoes. And then I sit down and the nurse comes and interviews me. She said, okay, Jared, I understand you're a dentist. And you're in shock right now. And you've potentially just ruined your career.
Oh, man.
We're going to put you on suicide watch.
Whoa.
I said, wait, I'm not suicidal. What does that mean?
Yeah. But you fit the bill because that's right. I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah.
I fit the profile.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, for your benefit, for your safety and well-being, we're going to place you on suicide watch. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Insult to injury for sure. I get it.
What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Well, that means you take off all your clothes and they put you in this big Velcro green suit that has padding all over it. And you're totally naked underneath. And there's no dignity at all anymore when you're in this
out
suit.
the window.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so walking down the hall, we turn left and I see a big sign, medical unit. We walk in there and I'm like, okay, what is this? And he says, this is where your home's going to be the next 3 nights. I was like, okay. So he opens my door and all I see is a pad on the floor and a toilet and a yellow cup.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait. What? Where's my pillow?
Yeah.
Where's my blanket? Mm-hmm. Do I get a toothbrush?
Yeah.
You know? What about a magazine?
Oh man.
How about a drink? Can I have a drink? And then he just kind of carefully pushes me in and closes the door. And he says, Jared, this isn't the effing Holiday Inn.
Oh yeah. Yeah. At that point they're like, we're done.
You're not at the Holiday Inn, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Door shuts. I could write a whole book on the next 3 nights, but it was an awful, awful experience.
At this point, as this is all going down, family, they're not knowing where you're at? Do they know what's going on yet?
Not at all.
So you're in there.
My wife
no one knows.
Has no idea where I am. It's late at night now.
Yeah.
I'm panicked because I'm already going through
withdrawals.
withdrawals.
Are you trying to process that too? As the withdrawals
Are you like
everything's flooding in at once?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so I basically spent the next 3 nights going through awful opioid withdrawals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In that environment,
which means ants crawling up and down your skin, sweating profusely. You're cold, shivering. I didn't have a blanket.
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
Yeah.
Vomiting.
It's like the worst flu times 10.
Awful.
You bet.
And they don't care.
Mm-mm. They've seen it before. You're just another one.
Yeah. You're just sobering up.
Yep.
Quote unquote.
Man.
There came a point where, and I eventually did get that phone call, which was also humiliating because it has to be a collect call and you have to record your voice. And when the person receives the call, they answer the phone, hello, and it says, hi, you're getting a phone call from Jared, an inmate at the Utah County Jail. Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah.
Jared, where are you?
Yeah, it's like, what happened?
Has happened? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, brother.
Anyway, The other people in that unit are just, most of them have major psychiatric problems. They're mentally ill.
Yep.
Not safe to be in general population. One or two might also be going through withdrawals from drugs.
Thing, yeah.
It's the loony bin.
Yeah.
People just yelling and banging their heads, and it's like being in a nightmare.
I can't even imagine.
After on day 3, by the way, no shower.
Yeah.
So defecating on yourself.
Yeah.
More than once.
Mm-hmm.
In this turtle suit, which I call it. So you've messed yourself. You're basically in your own feces.
Yeah.
For 3 nights.
You're throwing up and you're sweating, and
it smells like death in there.
Yeah, man. I know why it's all concrete. They go hose it all down and get ready for the next one.
So on day 3, I lost it. And
that was your breaking point after all that.
Yeah, I lost it, and I started screaming. I was demanding a shower. I was telling them how inhumane this was, how I was going to sue them, all this stuff, and I lost it. And I was banging on the door, screaming.
Yeah.
A few minutes later, they come in and open the door, and there's 3 guys there.
Yeah,
in full gear.
Yep.
And they have a little chair. Have you heard about the chair?
I know about the
restraint chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pushed the chair in, forced me into the chair, strapped me down, put a hood over my head.
Good grief.
And said I had to stay there for 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So being tied down, your head's strapped, your legs and arms are strapped, and again, no dignity there anymore. You don't feel like a human being anymore.
No.
Anyway,
oh my gosh.
I got through that and ended up meeting with the social worker on day 3. They let me have a shower finally, but I was handcuffed to the wall while I was showering. And I finally got some
Do you think
clothes.
that was overkill, though? I mean...
Way overkill.
Yeah. I get it, but wow.
Totally inhumane.
Wow. Okay.
Guys, I'm not like this crazy violent criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dentist who was addicted to opioids, and I made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's they treated me like a wounded rabid animal.
Wow. Yeah.
So
See, I've known quite a few people that have been in and out of that place because of my line of work, and I worked in the population where I worked for Utah County Division of Substance Abuse, and so I know the jail system really well. But it's never been explained to me in that kind of detail. It's always just kind of been, it was a horrible experience. So you're bringing a different kind of light on this. So it's interesting to hear. I can feel what you're talking about, and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So I get where they're coming from, but I also can really feel where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I on the flip side, I can see how they want to keep me safe and not allow me to hurt myself, and they don't want to get hurt, et cetera, et cetera. So I can see both sides.
But still, it doesn't take away the fact that you're handcuffed taking a shower.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, I got through that, got out, did the bail hearing, got out on bail, made a deal with the prosecutor that I would start this diversion program with DOPL, the Division of Occupational Professional Licensing.
I know that place well.
Diversion means you're going to be monitored, et cetera, but it's all kept quiet. Okay, it's not public knowledge.
Right.
You've done some bad things. You've been addicted to this. We're going to help you get through this, and we're not going to make it public. So you're going to be okay. So I signed a plea of abeyance, and as long as I'm good for 18 months, all the charges get dropped, which I was facing felony charges.
Oh, yeah. It's a big deal.
And I had to start doing random drug testing, therapy, some aftercare addiction classes with some folks that were in drug court.
Right.
Okay. Again, I was like, I'm not an addict, guys. I'm just regular guy that got addicted to opioids because of my back.
I'm so glad that you bring that up, because I, again, worked at Utah County and with drug court and all those folks, and that's, after, jail, they go to Foothill, and then Foothill to me. but they don't have anything for you. That you fit a different breed, and there's a lot of people like you out there. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
To where you get put in a class or a therapy group, and you've got the folks that are using heroin, that are dealing and wheeling.
I'm going to these groups in the evenings, and all these guys are on heroin or meth. They're shooting up IV, in their veins.
Yeah.
I mean, they're at a different class demographically.
Absolutely.
And I didn't fit in at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, again, because the standard model is just the DSM, you fit the criteria. But I think that's kind of where we got to be cautious, is because there's a lot of good that can come from you being there because of what you can teach the other guys too. But on the same breath, it's got to do something for your psyche and for just, your ability to kind of like heal the way that you need to. You don't fit that classic mold of having the trauma as a youth. It came after like physical disabilities. Man, that had to be pretty hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you learned a ton, and I'm sure you were a great person in that group because there's a lot of folks that needed to hear what you said.
Yeah,
but
I made some friends.
Overkill.
Yeah. But again, I had not surrendered. I had not. I was still in denial. I was convinced I was not a drug addict. I was comparing myself to these guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. I just made a stupid decision on May 21st.
Yeah.
Anyway, the jail trauma ruined me.
I don't see how it couldn't.
I could not see a police car, a police officer on TV, out in public, or I would go into full-on panic attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had to go through intense psychotherapy through these sessions called EMDR, eye movement rapid desensitization. I did 8-hour sessions with this specialist in EMDR that helped me process every minute of my jail experience.
Yeah, I'm EMDR certified.
There you go. You know exactly
exactly what you're doing.
So it was rough, but it helped me kind of process the whole thing and let go of it.
Yeah.
So it didn't haunt me anymore.
Yeah, it's wild.
I remembered it, but the emotion was gone.
Exactly.
I could see a police officer and talk about it without crying and falling apart.
Exactly, Yeah.
So I had a lot of good therapy that helped me get over all that stuff. And I did all the diversion stuff for a while. For all the 18 months, stayed clean. Then the back problems persisted.
Yeah, because that didn't just go away after you got out of jail, I would imagine.
No. They allowed me to take opioids, but it had to be prescribed by this doctor, and I could only take a certain amount. Okay, so I was still able to take opioids, and I don't know what the solution is for someone like me in that situation. He's got back pain still, but he's shown signs of addiction, and he's made some big mistakes. So anyway, one day I'm at work and I'm opening up my ordering catalog, and I see a pharmaceutical section. Whoa.
Yeah, dude. I can only imagine you're like here, starting to like, whoa, catalog. Your eyes
Holy
get big.
Smokes.
You're like,
I didn't know I could order this stuff. Percocet, Lortab, Vicodin, Ambien, then benzos, Valium, alprazolam, all this stuff. They prescribed me Ativan, which is alprazolam, for my anxiety after the jail.
Right.
Okay, so I took that because I was such a mess. I became addicted to that. Okay. Right. Bad situation. So I'm looking in this catalog, and I'm like, this light goes off, and my addict brain goes crazy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, problem solved. I can just self-medicate myself.
Cut out the middleman.
Yeah. There's my problem solved.
That's what our athlete Alan did. The dentist we were talking about with you did the same thing. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I started ordering medications, and I ordered a lot, and I got away with it for a long time. And I self-medicated. By the way, marital discord happens when you go to jail.
I would imagine. I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about the way that residual collateral damage began to kind of...
Lots of collateral damage. relationships start being tarnished.
Because they don't understand either, do
gone.
they? They have no clue.
No.
Gotcha.
Trust is gone. And I don't blame her at all.
Right.
I was causing a lot of problems. Because of the marital discord, I started self-medicating, especially in the evenings.
Right.
I just wanted to check out.
Right.
Okay. I didn't want to come home and fight and feel the shame. I had so much shame.
You had it anyway.
So much shame because of what I had done, because I'd been arrested and all these things. And I didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I would just medicate myself to make the shame feelings go away.
Right.
And that's what I would do in the evenings, especially on the weekends, because I had to be around her and my family for extended periods of time. At work, it wasn't that big of a deal, but when I went home, oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah, guilt, the shame, all that. I can totally imagine.
Yeah. Eventually, taking all those medications again, it'll catch up with you at some point.
It has to.
Right?
Yeah.
In August of 2009, I was driving impaired, and I got arrested for DUI. DUIs, they process pretty quickly, and you can bail out even on a Friday.
Right.
So that happened. 3 weeks later, another DUI.
Oh, wow. 2
DUIs in 3 weeks.
That's pretty heavy. 2009.
So the first instance was 2006. Okay, so now we're 3.5 years, and 2 DUIs.
Yeah.
Okay, there's something going on here, Jared.
Yeah. Now you're like, okay, something bigger is on the table.
Again, I'm still in denial. I'm sorry. I just took too much medication, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll get it right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
By this time, Doppel's radar really goes up. What's going on, Jared?
Yeah.
Something's not right here.
Something's up.
You're getting DUIs. They're not alcohol DUIs. They're medications, but you're taking way too much here.
Too much.
An investigator shows up at my office. She starts digging through all my stuff and realizes he's been ordering all these pills.
Yeah.
And he's been pretending like he's dispensing them to patients, but he's been diverting them to himself. They call it diverting medication.
Right. It makes sense.
So they sit me down and tell me, which is their job is to protect the public, Jared, you can't be a dentist anymore until you go get help.
You're like, oh,
you're a mess. Man. You're such addicted to these medications. Now you've gotten 2 DUIs. Something's not right here. You're not okay. You need to go get help. It's time to go to rehab, Jared.
Right.
I'd never been to rehab before. I went to some little
classes,
group meetings in the evenings. That's it.
Right.
So I broke down and I was like, yeah, okay. All right, where do I go?
Yeah, point me.
They sent me up to Oregon, to Hazelden, which is now the Betty Ford Clinic / Hazelden. Betty Ford and Hazelden.
They're the ones that write all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, they've written a lot of literature.
Yes, they have.
Their headquarters is in Center City, Minnesota. They have facilities all over the country. Very, very renowned, prestigious addiction treatment center.
Yeah.
They had a professionals program for doctors and dentists, and so that's where I was going.
Right.
And I went up there. The program was 90 days. I did very well.
Right.
They discharged me after 63 days.
Why?
Almost a month early.
Good behavior?
I did so good.
Wow.
I was so good at pretending.
Yeah.
And the spirituality stuff was so easy for me because I grew up in this.
Yeah, look where you are. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I connected with the spirituality guy. I connected with all these other therapists and the medical director. And I was so good at brown nosing and pretending I was healthy and happy and I was doing well.
Yeah.
I did, I'm smart. I did all my homework assignments early.
Right.
I read all the stuff early. Anyway, I did so well, they sent me home early.
Good behavior. Here you go.
The problem is, I was only there for one reason, and that was to get back to work.
Right. Again, that was kind of your solace, too. That was the place where you felt the best.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, that's what you're saying.
And the thing you put first is usually the thing you're going to lose.
That's very true.
You know, if it's not yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And work was the only reason I was up there.
Right.
I wasn't there for myself.
Right.
At that point, I'm still not an addict.
Mm-hmm.
I've just had a back problem.
You guys aren't getting it, yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I took too much on a couple of days, and I was driving a little,
A little wonky.
Yeah. So, went home. Since I had screwed up and gotten in trouble while in diversion, the next step is called probation.
Yep.
So my license now is affected.
Right.
My dental license is on probation.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. You know, then insurance companies start dropping you as a provider, and you start seeing some real consequences to that. And now you're meeting with the dental board every quarter, which is really scary.
Very intimidating, yeah.
Very intimidating. And they're watching you like a hawk.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where the athlete stuff starts coming into play.
Mm-hmm.
I get home from Hazelden, and I start riding a bike. A road bike. Never ridden a road bike before.
Yeah.
So I start riding a road bike, and I liked it. Liked it a lot.
Nice.
My younger brother, Dan, he's the Utah State Senator. He'd done a lot of road biking and done like century rides and races and stuff. And so
right on.
Like, this is kind of cool.
We may have rubbed shoulders and don't even know, because I did that too.
Yeah.
Exactly, same thing.
So I started riding a road bike, and that became my new therapy. You know, my new like get away from life thing. You know,
absolutely.
Started getting in shape, and you build up all those natural endorphins. Oh, by the way, just let me step aside real quick.
Yeah.
I found relief from my back pain. I ended up going to another specialist in Provo that specializes in, he's again a pain clinic, but he does these procedures called nerve ablation.
Oh, yeah.
With radio frequency.
That's right.
Now, he does radio frequency, which means they shoot these radio waves at the nerves, and they basically fry the nerves that are causing the pain, which thus gets you out of pain. Well, they can't do radio frequency in the thoracic spine because you have vital organs right there.
Kind of need those
like
not
your
to be
lungs and stuff. They don't want to fry your lungs.
Yeah.
So they did it with chemicals. He actually had to go take a course. He flew to Indonesia and learned this chemical cocktail.
To come back and make you a guinea pig,
and
huh?
I was his first patient.
Nice.
And he injected phenol and some other stuff in there, and it killed the nerves that were causing my back pain.
Oh, brother.
So no more back pain.
Were you like waiting for it to kick back in? Like, I feel better, but I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not gonna like. Man, I can understand. Seriously.
So I'm basically out of back pain now, which is awesome, and I'm riding.
So now
a
you have
bike.
no excuse, right?
No excuse.
Gotcha.
Riding a bike a lot, off all that yucky medication. Life is awesome. I'm still feeling lots of shame. I haven't dealt with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, my marriage is kind of up and down. But I'm riding a bike a lot, and I'm doing all these century races now. I signed up for Lotojaw, and I trained all summer. You know, that's that 206 mile.
Yeah, I've been
race.
there.
3 mountain ranges, 3 mountain passes.
Yeah, it's no joke.
No, you have to really be training a lot to do that. So that was 2011, and I did Lotojaw with my brother, my younger brother, and some of his friends.
2011 would have been the year that I did it.
Oh, really?
I could have drafted off you, not even known it.
We probably passed each other. Yeah, but I did it solo.
Yeah.
That was the biggest accomplishment of my whole life.
That is no joke. Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, Lotojaw, when we talk about 3 mountain passes, that means you got to go up and down. Up
3
and down, up and down.
Huge mountain passes. 206 miles. You leave in the dark, and I finished in the dark.
Exactly.
I finished right as the sun was going down. I think my time was like 12 something or almost 13 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You know?
That's decent.
Hardest thing I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And it was amazing accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So that was such like a pinnacle of my life, finishing that race, you know. And I'm doing well. I'm clean and sober. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Life goes on. I'm training even harder on my bike now. I'm so serious about riding. That's like my big thing in my life is cycling.
Sounds almost eerily familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm with you.
2012 comes. The week before Loaderjaw, and again, I got in because, you know, they have
lottery.
Yeah, it's lottery. I was stoked, and I was way in better shape this time.
Yeah.
So ready for it.
Finish in the sunshine this year.
I was going to kill it. Week before, it's my son's birthday, and I buy him a skateboard for his birthday. And we take him up to the skate park up in Heber. And I decided to show him how to ride a skateboard.
I got first.
Okay, I'm 30 years old, or whatever, you know, 31 or whatever. I dropped down. I'm not 16 anymore, guys.
Man, yeah. Okay. Your frontal lobe's developed too. You should know better. Gotcha.
The board kicks out from underneath me, and you know, I'm like 200 something pounds, and my leg slid. Pop, 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 crash. Look down. My foot is backwards, bones sticking out everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
This is the week before Loaderjaw.
There's no clipping in a pedal with that. Not happening.
No, I'm not riding Loaderjaw anymore. So anyway, having to get an ambulance. I had surgery, spent 3 nights in the hospital, 6 weeks in a cast, and on this stupid scooter, et cetera, et cetera.
All the while filling that void of you missed it, man. Like
I couldn't ride a bike anymore.
Yeah.
And I missed Loaderjaw. So now I'm starting to get really depressed. That was my like escape from life.
Exactly. I hear you.
And I lost it.
Gone.
Yeah. I can't sleep because of the stupid cast. It's itchy. Oh, I was miserable.
And I assume opiates because
I took opiates for a week, and we were safe and smart about it. My wife had the bottle, and she only gave me one at a time.
Well done.
So we did it safe.
Well done.
But I can't sleep.
Yeah.
I go to my doctor, and he prescribes me Ambien.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Ambien's like a benzodiazepine, sort of. Yeah. It acts on the GABA receptors, and it feels like you're taking Valium or something.
For sure.
My brain loves it. So now I'm addicted to
it woke back up.
Ambien, and I haven't taken any of that stuff for quite a while now, you know. So again, I'm addicted to this medication, and a few months goes by. I make a fool out of myself a couple times in family stuff.
Was that because you had the Ambien coma where you're moving around talking, but you have zero clue what's going on?
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing in the world.
But the other stupid thing is, you're like, oh, I'll feel better if I take one right before this party.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're taking a sleeping pill before a party? Are you
just
kidding
push
me?
Through it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're chasing it with a Red Bull so you don't fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
How insane is that?
That's the addict mind, brother. You're right. Spot on.
So anyway, that all catches up with me, and I make a fool out of myself on a trip with my friends and wife in the Cayman Islands. I won't get into that, but
yeah, memory lane you don't want to travel down. Gotcha. Enough said.
My marriage is also a disaster at this point because now she knows I'm on this Ambien stuff, and anyway, I end up meeting with the dental board again in the summer of 2013. I'm super depressed. I'm going psychotic at this point. Mm-hmm. I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I'm really depressed.
Right.
I can't bike it still. I'm addicted again. My marriage is awful.
Right.
I'm miserable as a human being. And I still carry all this shame I've never dealt with.
Yeah.
Back from the arrest in 2006.
Exactly.
Never dealt with any of that stuff. I actually go through psychotic episodes for weeks at a time, and I'm not okay, and I'm super depressed, and I start getting suicidal thoughts.
Now it's kicking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doppel's really worried about me. They know I'm not okay. And they sent me to Pine Grove, Mississippi for a mental health evaluation.
Wow.
They were so worried about me. Pine Grove is where Tiger Woods went.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of famous from Tiger Woods.
I was filing through. I'm like, I know I've heard this before.
It's in Hattiesburg,
that's
Mississippi.
Right. Okay.
So I fly out there and go through this. Their medical director is some BYU grad, so I feel like there's a connection with him because he's LDS. And I'm thinking, okay, I can manipulate this guy, and he can tell me I'm
Hazelton
okay.
all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do 3 days of testing and all this stuff, and at the end, he sits me down in his office, starts going through all this stuff with me, and he tells me, Jared, you're not fit to work as a dentist anymore.
Oh, man.
You've relapsed on Ambien. The results from all these tests, you're severely depressed. They interview my wife and the other family members, You're not okay, Jared. You need to go back to rehab.
Yeah.
So we're going to recommend that your license be revoked.
Wow.
And
that's a word you haven't heard up until this point.
No.
Like it's never been, this is it.
No. And you need to go to rehab. And then they'll kind of evaluate you from there. So that was an awful moment for me.
I'll bet.
I was already depressed. Now I'm super depressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that one thing you could do was provide.
Yeah.
And now you can't do
Yeah.
that.
Right. So anyway, I'm in contact with the bureau director at Doppel, and I went home to my hotel. I went to my hotel that night, and she was super worried about me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay? Are you going to hurt yourself?
Yeah.
She knew the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
And I wasn't suicidal at that point, really. I was devastated.
Well, yeah.
But, I go home, and we go up to meet with them, and she says, yeah, you need to go to rehab now. Your license has been revoked. And, I don't even know where we can't even talk about getting it back at this point.
Yeah, it's like inappropriate to even discuss that finish line. It's like, no, you haven't even started yet.
You need to do so much stuff before we even talk about that. So I'm pretty much ruined at that point. I felt totally ruined, and so my dad is my rock, and he was with me, and he's like, we need to get him to the best place. Where's the best rehab that Jared can go to? She gives us several names, Covington Heights, Mar, and they didn't really, they sort of answered my questions, but I didn't feel any connection or any like, okay, this is the place, And then we go back up to meet with her again, and I said, I haven't really found a place yet. All these places, they're weird when I talk to them, and I don't know, they don't really understand what I need, and And so she's like, hey, I got this one other place. I just met with this guy named John Lesko from the Florida Recovery Center, and he was so professional, and he told me all this stuff about the program. Their medical director, Scott Teitelbaum, he's in recovery. All their doctors are in recovery. All their therapists are in recovery. And this is a really awesome program. It's not easy. It's tough stuff, but it's a really great program. Mm-hmm. So I called John Lesko, this John Lesko guy, and I talked to him. Sorry. I called the main office, and I talked to secretary, and I told her I was thinking of going there. What do I need to do? Tell me about your program. And I said, I'm ready to do this. Let's sign up. And, she gave me some stuff to fill out. And, and I was kind of excited, but I was still really depressed and down that I'm in this place again.
Yeah.
And then the next day goes by, and I get a phone call from John Lesko.
Mm-hmm.
And no other place called me back.
Mm.
He called me back.
Yeah.
And he says, Jared, I care about you. You're going to be okay. You can do this. I know you're in a bad place right now, but I care about you, and I'm going to be here for you, and I know you can do this. Because of that human compassion and connection with him, I was going there.
Yeah.
So, but I was going on Monday, and this was Wednesday.
Oh man,
I'm in a really bad place.
Yeah, you got a few days, you got a few hours to kill.
I can't even be home around my wife right now. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault.
No.
It's my fault.
Exactly. It makes sense.
I have so much shame. I just don't even want to be around anyone I know.
Exactly. You want to just go hide somewhere. I got you.
I can't work. But I have my office. I go to my office and I say, I'll be back here. I'll be back on Monday morning. I locked myself in my office. And I spent the next 3-4 days in my office. Bad place to be alone.
I'll bet.
There was one. I have guns. There was one point I had a gun in my mouth. I still remember the chattering around my teeth.
That's how close.
I wanted to end it. I just so wanted to end it.
Wow.
And then there was a point I was on the nitrous oxide, and I rigged up my machine so that no more oxygen came out. And it was 100% nitrous oxide. Because I couldn't pull the trigger with the gun, but I could probably just fall asleep and do it painless with the nitrous.
Right.
And I tried that, and I almost died. I woke up. I won't get into all that, but I woke up breathing, and all the color had left my vision, and everything was gray and black, and I almost died.
Wow.
And I woke up, and I was just sobbing that I had just wanted to kill myself.
You gotten that low. That's below rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
And I went home, and the next morning I was on a plane to Florida. So I went to the Florida Recovery Center, which is part of the University of Florida. It's called the University of Florida Shands Florida Recovery Center. Shands is their huge hospital network, and they have a huge medical school. It's like a world-renowned place. Okay,
Right.
It's not just some little tiny rehab place. It's associated with a university.
Yeah.
Medical research, huge renowned teams in addiction medicine. They actually have an addiction medicine rotation through their medical school that affiliates with this place. This place is legit.
That's awesome.
Okay. Anyway, I went there and I showed up. Taxi picked me up. Where did they take me? They took me straight to the psychiatric hospital.
You're like, I thought I was going over there, and they pull you right in.
They went through all my bags, and the intake guy was asking me all these questions. I'm just falling apart, and I just told him I just tried to kill myself, and totally broken.
Yeah.
Empty vessel.
Right.
Completely broken. That was my rock bottom in that psychiatric hospital intake place. And he took the laces out of my shoes and the zip tie out of my pants, and the tie out of my pants. He put zip ties in my shoes. And I'm walking down the hallway looking at these zip ties in my shoes, and I'm with this big security guy, and he's taking me through all these doors into the middle of this psychiatric hospital, and I see detox lockdown unit. I'm like, holy crap.
Here we go.
Where am I?
What'd I sign up for?
What have I done? This is where I am. I'm 38 years old, and I'm in the detox lockdown unit of the Shands Vista Psychiatric Hospital in Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah, man.
Where the hell am I?
Exactly.
What got me here?
Yeah.
That was my kind of aha, come to Jesus moment.
Exactly.
I was broken. And I remember I was just crying, and then I see the room they're going to put me in, and everything's padded. The walls have padding on them, and there's nothing that you can like pull off of the floor. Everything's secured, so I can't hurt myself.
Exactly.
And the other people in there, their hair's like flying all over the place, and they're coming off of all their drugs, and they're crazy. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I'm crazy too.
Trouble. Yeah. I belong here this time. I need to be here.
Yeah. So
it's like rock bottom. You're feeling it now. You're reading it, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, rock bottom.
Jeez, brother.
And I'm sitting there on the bench and I'm crying and totally broken. And the nurse is telling me, Jared, you're going to be okay. And I'm not okay. And I'm so scared.
You know that not to be true.
I'm so scared. And I look up on the wall and I see this picture of this golden temple. A golden temple. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I see a cross and I see a little prayer underneath it. And I read the prayer, and I have this written down. And I talk about this story in my presentation when I speak to people. Mm-hmm. And I read the prayer. I won't look it up right now. But the prayer says something like, we look all over for God, except we don't ever look within ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where God is.
That's where he is.
He's inside of us, but we forget that. We look all over except for within ourselves. We are only an extension of God. Mm-hmm. And it said, seek holy prayer, Amritsar, India. So this is where the Sikhs, like Mecca is in this golden temple. Yeah. And I just started to bawl, you know. And that's where I had that come to Jesus moment. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I think I can do this. And anyway, I was in there for 2-3 days. Then they shipped me over to the Florida Recovery Center.
Yeah.
And, sat down with my team, my treatment team, and I told them, I said, don't let me go home until you know I can do it.
Until you know I'm done. Yeah.
I'm not here to pretend. I might have some pretending stuff come out while I'm here, but don't let me go home until you know I have what I need to live outside in the real world and not be an addict.
You realize what you did when you said that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they question everything, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
But at that point, I had totally surrendered.
Yeah.
And I was not in denial anymore. And I was ready to do the work. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't easy work. They use REBT.
Yeah.
Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy.
Yep. It's a good modality.
Which is not easy to do. They also do cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yep. CBT.
And they put you through the gamut, you know. And their program's 90 days. Okay. I was there for 5 months.
They took your request very seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was sick.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of denial they had to cut through.
Oh, my head.
A lot of reality you needed to see.
My therapist, she's just this strong, willful lady from Puerto Rico. Her name was Daisy. And she said, nice. Jared, I'm going to break you.
Nice. I like this lady.
I'm going to break you, and then I'm going to break you again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what is this?
What does that mean?
I love it.
What does that mean to break me?
I love that. She was like, no joke. I'm going to get you.
I'm like, she's like, I already know you're pretending. You wear masks. You're so good at pretending and manipulative and all this stuff. And I'm like, what is this? Who is this lady?
Yeah.
What does it mean to break me? I feel broken.
I'm already busted.
I'm broken already.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You know, I later found out what that means because, you know, you go in all these groups all day long and then individual sessions and then you're doing all these homework assignments and you're in anger classes and all these other classes about denial and
the shame,
all this stuff.
guilt,
And then you start working on the 12 steps. And I found out what it means to break again because they do. They peel all the layers away, and you start looking back to when you were a child, you know. And there's certain moments in your childhood that kind of precipitated into these bad behaviors.
Absolutely,
you know. And I learned that I'm a 38-year-old, but emotionally I'm like a 5-year-old.
100%.
I don't know how to deal with problems in life.
Yep.
I don't have the skills. I'm like a 5-year-old emotionally.
Right.
And so I take drugs to make it go away, to deal with my problems.
Absolutely, brother.
So
that's amazing that they taught you that because most don't. Most programs want you to feel better. And so they don't get into the stuff that causes it. That's what I like to do, is get into the core issue of what's driving this.
Yeah.
That tells me that that's a great place because they didn't go to make you feel better. They want.
That's what Hazelden did.
Yeah.
Nothing against Hazelden, and it works great for people.
Sure. It's their program, but I'm with you on
that. They patted me on the back. I got a massage once a week. I went to acupuncture. I was fed like a king.
Yeah. Yep. You're doing great.
They didn't break me at all.
Exactly.
They treated me like a celebrity.
I'm so glad you're saying this because I have a reputation to being like the Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is most people will see that and they'll be like, wow, that's pretty harsh. But the ones that get it, like what you're saying, they come out thinking, wow, I couldn't put the wool over this person's eyes. And it feels good to have all that exposed. You don't have to carry it anymore.
Oh, I know.
5 months of that. Yeah. 5 months.
Well, and they told me, Jared, you're one of the worst cases we've ever had. I'm like, what? You've got these guys that are doing IV drugs, heroin, meth, all this stuff. Uh-huh. I'm one of the worst cases.
Yeah, I just take some pills now and then.
I just took pills.
Uh-huh.
I was so sick.
Right.
And they don't look at it by the drugs you took.
No, there's no reason to.
How you are from inside.
Spot on.
Mm-hmm. So I was really sick. Anyway, I learned what spirituality is. I learned that I had no spirituality.
Right.
I learned that spirituality means, it comes from the word spiritus, which means to breathe. And that's a real intimate relationship with yourself.
Yep. Become one with yourself.
Mindfulness.
Oh, I love it.
And you learn to let go of all your shame. Carrying shame shame says I'm a bad person.
Yep.
Guilt says I've done bad things and I feel bad about it, but I'm not a bad person. Shame is I'm a bad person.
And that's what you were carrying.
Totally carrying.
Yeah.
Like a backpack of bricks.
Yep.
Everywhere I went. And Daisy told me to look in the mirror every morning into my eyes.
Man, I love this lady.
She said, Jared, you look into your eyes every single morning and you say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's just BS. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
She made me do it. And it wasn't until day 45 of doing that I actually believed
right.
it.
And you remember that time on day 45 when you started noticing things in your own eyes? You're like,
it's like an epiphany.
Wait a minute. Who is it? Yeah. Powerful.
Huge.
Listeners,
Huge.
I mean, you want to spend the longest 5 minutes of your life, go do it now. Go walk up to your mirror and look into your own eyes and just be quiet and just look, right?
Just look.
It's intense.
It is intense.
Daisy's on fire.
She was amazing. Wise. She changed my life. I'll share a couple more things of that experience. Another thing they did there is I was having a really rough day one day, and this was like after I'd been there a couple months, and I was starting feeling like I'm getting my groove in,
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys there took me. He's like, Jared, come outside. It's torrential rain, okay?
Florida rain.
We're Florida rain.
Yeah.
Torrential rain. It's so loud you can't even hear. And he takes me out in the rain, and he says, okay, I want you to go pick up that stick over there. I'm like, what?
You're like, can't we wait?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pick up the stick. And there's some mud there. He's like, draw a circle in the mud right there. I'm like, okay. So I draw the circle in the mud. Stand in the circle. Okay, I'll stand in the circle. Then he looked at me. Rain coming down. I'm in the mud, standing in a circle in the mud. Jared, never forget this. Everything inside that circle, you have control of. But everything outside of that circle, you have no control of. So stop trying to control it.
So knock it off. Yeah. Oh, man.
That was a huge epiphany to me because I was so stressed out about my work, my office, my family, finances, legal problems. It was driving me crazy, and I'm trying to control my treatment because I'm a doctor too, and I'm saying, no, that's not right. This is better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize that moment in your life where the only thing you have control of is yourself and everything else you have no control of, that's a huge moment because you just dropped another bag of bricks.
Oh, a ton. Big one. Yeah. Huge.
Huge burden lifted off of me. I had never learned that lesson before until the age of 38, standing in the mud in that circle in the rain.
In a huge rainstorm.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, and then another quick example, they teach you about resentments in AA in the 12th step. You've got to resentments are their number one offender for addicts, right?
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of your resentments. So, you make a list of all these things you're resentful or have ill feelings towards. And and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I judged Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were all terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
They pretended to be a peaceful religion, but look what's happening in the Middle East and all these things.
Right.
Guess what they did? They sent me to the mosque in Gainesville.
Oh, wow.
To clean their bathrooms.
Brilliant.
Once a week for
Brilliant.
a couple hours. So I had to clean their bathrooms once a week for a couple hours. And by doing that, by serving them, I was able to let go of that resentment. They're good people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Very good people.
Yeah. When you
and
get to
I
that
became
point.
to love them.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm
You get to
by
that point where
serving
you're
them.
like serving and you're just like, nothing else matters but this moment.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Eye opener.
Yeah. And then another thing, I judged homeless people standing on the corners with the stupid signs. It's not stupid, but I thought stupid signs
sure.
said, I need help. I'm thinking, go get a job then.
Yeah.
If I give you money, you're just going to go buy alcohol or drugs, So what did they do? They sent me to the homeless shelter to stock the shelves with food twice a week and to feed them food in the soup kitchen. So it's by serving the homeless people that I overcame that resentment. So one other thing about the rehab experience, this is where the sort of athlete stuff comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday, guess what my church was? Have you heard of the Swamp, the football stadium there?
Oh, yeah.
Gainesville, the Florida Gators.
That's right.
Running the steps at the Florida Gators stadium for 90 minutes was my church every Sunday.
Nice, man. Oh, wow.
And then every morning at 6 a.m., they would send us to the Gainesville Fitness Center,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd exercise. While I was there, I completely went through transformation, spiritually, obviously, and mentally and emotionally, obviously, but physically, extreme transformation.
Absolutely.
From all the physical stuff, and they changed my diet. I learned about nutrition and
how much that goes into play.
all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just became a completely healthy human being.
Wow.
I came home and I was completely transformed. Different person.
Right.
I didn't even know how to talk to people when I came home, because in REBT and CBT, you learn to talk directly and to be, quote unquote, emotionally honest in everything you do and say.
Mm-hmm.
The way you're sitting right now makes me nervous. I just want you to know that. Just stuff like that. That it's awkward. People don't talk like that.
They don't, because we want everyone to feel good, and so
you're afraid of offending people,
absolutely,
and hurting their feelings. Well, in that way, you don't care what other people feel or think. You just need to be honest about everything you're feeling.
Exactly.
So I came back a completely different human being, and that experience totally changed my life. Totally changed my life.
Whole new perspective. Holy cow.
I spent the next 2 years not working. I had to sell my practice, which was not easy. I ended up getting a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up having to live with my parents.
Yeah.
Which was humbling.
I'll bet.
I tried to do other jobs. I tried to do a job at Walmart stocking shelves for $12 an hour.
Wow.
When I'm used to making over six figures.
Exactly.
I tried to be a State Farm insurance agent.
Oh boy!
And I didn't pass their test.
You're like, no, yeah. You can get through dental school, but you can't pass the insurance test. Brilliant.
I can do all these intense surgeries in the mouth, but I can't be an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Something's off. Right.
That was humbling. I tried to do these other odd things with startup companies, and that didn't work either. So, thank you so much to my parents for helping me get through those hard times.
I'll bet.
Was
that rough though for them? I mean, like
rough for them, totally.
Yeah.
Financially. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
It almost ruined them.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at the stolen prescriptions that started the whole thing.
I know.
All the way through this, like there's got to be a lot of unconditional love there.
I hurt so many people, and we had to do a lot of healing.
Mm-hmm.
They came out to Family Week. We went through all this healing stuff, and they learned about addiction. And when I came home, recovery was my whole life.
Yeah.
They say do 90 meetings in 90 days. Guess what? I went to one meeting every day for an entire year.
Yeah, you're like, 365.
Sometimes 2 meetings a day.
Brilliant.
So recovery was my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually decided I wanted to be a dentist again, and they said, well, gosh, you've got to do so much stuff. You need to go back and have a mental health recheck to see if you're even like
got to see if those test scores raised up a bit, huh?
Because when I went through all the psych testing, when I got to Florida, my cognitive abilities, and my memory, because of the nitrous thing I went through, I damaged my brain.
Wow, yeah. I
was only in the 34th percentile for memory recall and manual dexterity. I couldn't even put these things in the holes.
The executive functioning was wiped out.
Lost everything. So they said, you need to go back and see if you can even be a dentist again.
Right.
So I went back and I went through another 3-4 day evaluation. I tested in the 98th percentile for cognitive abilities.
Holy cow.
And manual dexterity.
See.
So it all came back. My brain healed.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ended up getting my license back with tons of restrictions.
Yeah, and that's no easy feat. You could have just surrendered and thrown in the towel.
No.
But you didn't.
No, I was like, okay, I've tried all this other stuff. I've changed my life, but I want to be a dentist. I love dentistry. I went to all that school, and I know I've done lots of things and horrible things and made mistakes.
Yeah.
I even hurt a couple of people.
Yeah.
But I've changed, and I want to do this.
Yeah.
And so I met with them. I did all these list of things they asked me to do, which was impossible.
Yeah,
but I still
put them
did
out
them.
there, yeah.
Even after I did all those things, and they said, okay, Jared, we'll let you do this. No one's going to hire you.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck. Look at your rap sheet. Who in the heck's going to hire you?
Yeah.
I remember one of the guys on the board, he was just like, no one's going to hire you. Good luck. Well, I called up my friend, Chris Young, on my way home from that meeting, and he said, come and meet with me. He owns Young Family Dental.
Oh, yeah.
Which is 5 offices. I sat down and shared with him my story. He kind of knew some of it. He and I have been friends for many years. And I cried, and he said, yeah, you can work here. Wow. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, we'll bring you on. Because he saw my value.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not just a regular dentist. I do lots of other things, especially lots of oral surgery and dental implants and full mouth reconstructions. And so he saw my potential and all my skill set. And he's like, wow, that would be awesome to bring into my practice. Yeah. Yeah, there's some stuff there, but I think we can try this out and see if it works. And so he brought me on, and I was just happy to have a job again and be back being a dentist again.
Well, so literally, you had to get all the way out before you could get all the way back in.
Yeah.
I mean, it
totally
wasn't just,
out.
yeah, you had to be completely out.
And then 2 years out.
Yeah.
2 years of not working as a dentist.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, in church they call that the repentance process, right?
Right.
And, you know, broken heart, right? Contrite spirit. And you're looking at that thing about, it's a fresh view about you and about God and about life and about the situation. And look at what happened, because you didn't give up. You know, and you said, no, I'm worth something here. I know my value. I know what I've got. So many times people throw that away because they're afraid that the answer is going to be no. And it wasn't, I can't do this. It's, how can I do this?
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's a powerful experience.
Right. And, you know, I didn't take the mentality of, oh, I have to do these things. No, I took the mentality of, I get to do these things.
Exactly. Well, then tell me this, and we will start wrapping it up here. But you tell me this. Why? Why do you think all this stuff came down on you? Why do you think the addiction? Why do you think the broken ankle? Why do you think all the experience put you in this chair in this studio today? Like, why?
I've thought about that a lot. This brings me back to I asked the treatment team in Florida. I said, "How do you know when I'm okay to go home?" And they said, "When the miracle happens."
Yeah. Try describing
what
that.
Does that mean?
Yeah.
When the miracle happens, they said, oh, we'll know and you'll know when the miracle happens. Well, the miracle happened. And when that happened, that's when I started thinking about that. Why am I here? Why am I gone through all of this stuff? Jail 3 times, suicide attempt, psychiatric hospital, financial ruin, divorce, losing my practice, losing my license, all this stuff. There has to be a higher purpose in all of this.
Yeah.
Is it just for me? I don't know. Well, I've certainly learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
But maybe, you know what step 12 is? That's giving back, doing service.
Spot on.
And that's what I sort of made my mission. When I got home, I started speaking at dental study clubs. And I spoke at a conference. And I had so many people come up to me in tears afterwards, like, wow, that was powerful. I have a sister, or I have a brother-in-law, or my husband, or this or that.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that you can do this and you can end up like that.
Yeah.
This is so inspiring, you know.
Turn the mess into a message. Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, wait, but I'm not healed. I'm not okay. I still have to do this every day for the rest of my life. The way I stay healthy is through spirituality and fellowship. And I get that in the rooms of AA. Yeah. That's where I learned my stuff was the big book in AA.
Right.
So I go to AA, and it's in those rooms that smell like coffee and mildew with all those people, and some of them are rough people, but they're my people. That's my tribe.
That's your tribe. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. I'm LDS. I'm a member of the Mormon Church, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I go to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Absolutely.
Dang right I do.
It's a very good perspective.
That's what keeps me healthy. And if you think there's a stigma in that, that's fine if you think that, but I don't. That's what keeps me alive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that division, because for those of you listening to this outside the state of Utah, the church is a big deal here, and it's an important aspect of my life. You know, I've been clean now for 20 something years, but I served as an LDS bishop after I converted to the church. I had no idea what that was about. But
I was in a bishopric when I got my DUIs.
Yeah, and see, the neat thing about that is it brings a whole different perspective to that concept of service. Step 12. It's what Team Addict Athlete thrives on. People think that all we do is, you know, go out and run and do all this stuff. No, it's the service component. It's about producing podcasts like this. It's about sharing your story to someone who's like, wow, that sounds a lot like me. I mean, there's so many aspects to this. You're spot on with that. And I think that's the why. It's you needed to be all the way out to be all the way back in, not just in dentistry, but in life. You had a bigger purpose. And, you know, as the devil himself tried to tear you down, you came out stronger because of it. That refinement that you went through, you know, and yeah, we're not perfect, but we have a better insight on what's coming down, you know, and what we can handle. I mean, inside that circle, you're probably thinking I should have made that circle a little bigger. Nah, it was perfect size, because that's all you needed to focus on. Everything else, don't worry about the controlling aspect of it. It'll fit.
But I need to say one other thing here. And recovery isn't easy. I know you have 20-something years. I had 6 years, and I relapsed. Relapse is so easy.
Oh, for sure.
If you become complacent and you start feeling confident, you stop going to meetings, and then you find yourself in a situation where they call the acronym HALT: hungry, angry, lonely, tired. That's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to meetings in a month, and I'm starting to get depressed and feeling sorry for myself, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Go to a gas station and buy some alcohol.
Yeah, easy to justify.
I'm not doing it at work, and I'm not doing it, anything. But I slipped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was several months ago. But it was a huge awakening for me, because I had 6 years of recovery, and I was so proud of that. And then you start feeling shame again, like, oh my gosh, I did all this amazing stuff and I ruined it.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't ruin it, because in a lot of cases, relapse is a part of your journey. You know, if you relapse, don't plan on relapsing. No. But it happens.
Yeah.
And what do you need to do when it happens? Are you going to crash and burn again and end up in, what, a jail cell, an institution, or dead?
Right.
That's usually what happens when you relapse, right? One of those three things. Well, thank God for my wife. Her name is Sunshine. I'm remarried now.
Nice.
She's also a recovering addict, and she saved me when I relapsed.
Nice.
It wasn't easy.
Right.
But she put down some strict conditions. You're going to start doing therapy again. You're going to be going to meetings every week, every Monday. You're going to get a therapist. You're going to start doing random testing again. That's how I'm going to feel safe, Jared.
Right.
And at first, I thought, what? Are you serious? I have to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you do. If you want to stay in this house, you need to.
Awesome.
And so thank God for her for putting her foot down.
Mm-hmm.
But she loves me so much. And she's been the best thing that's happened in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been doing those things for several months now, and I am so happy. I feel so in control again.
Right.
And this is just a message for people in recovery. It's so easy to relapse, guys.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to be the end of your world.
No.
You don't have to end up in jail. You don't have to end up dead. You don't have to end up back in an institution.
Exactly.
If you recover from it and do the right things to get back up on your feet. Because life is all about getting back up when you fall down.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
Muhammad
perfect.
Ali. Yeah.
Right. I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
I've been through a hell of a lot of places, and I've been in some really dark places.
Mm-hmm.
And but to fall and stumble, but to get back up again, I feel like I'm even stronger than I ever was before because I fell, and it like wakes you up. It shakes your brain.
Does.
It rattles you.
Yep.
You're like, wake up.
Absolutely.
You got to do this every day, Jared.
That's so cool. On Team Addict Athlete, we talk about that a lot with relapse. It's not the relapse, it's what you do with it. And we kind of use the acronym that we coined, kind of the SLIP. Sobriety's lost its purpose.
Yeah.
And if your sobriety's lost its purpose, then you better wake back up and get back going on that purpose.
Yeah.
The minute you diverge off that trail of what you're supposed to be doing here, life will shake you up, and that's what will happen. And so we do that same thing, and I love that you understand it under that pretense because, yeah, you can get back into that full throttle, or you can say, well, I learned something bigger. Now I'm going to watch out for the next time. I'm back on track. You know, listeners, we could go on, and I can see why you need to write a book, brother, because there's a lot to this, and part of your willingness to come and share this too. The sensitivity of the topic is huge because not a lot of professionals want to speak about it because they're afraid of the residual effect, like I don't want Dr. So-and-so. But you know what happens is the same thing that happened to me with the people in church is that they start coming back because they feel the reality of it. They know that person's human.
Yeah.
And I think it's a powerful thing. So thank you for being so open and honest with this.
You know what? I'm a better
amazing.
dentist today than I've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Because of all the trials I've been through.
Absolutely.
And I could recognize and help people out, especially the drug addicts that come in to see me.
Mm-hmm.
I can be honest with them and say, you need help.
See?
I know because I've been there.
I've been there. I've walked in those shoes. See, that's perfect. See, add to the why. That's another reason.
Yeah.
You know, people with addictions are the modern day lepers, and a lot of people want to work with them, and it takes a bold person to be able to do that. So thank you. Well, listeners, as always, download the podcast, share it with others. This is a powerful one. In fact, you might want to share this with anyone that may be in that same kind of pretense of using the pills and thinking that it's okay, because it's a huge part of this. Remember, there's help out there. Contact with Addict Athlete through our website, social media. Our numbers are on there if you need any help. But yeah, get it. There's no reason to lay in wait. So on behalf of Coach Blue and Dr. Emmert and Athletic Director Marissa Robinson, who's kind of sitting here correcting all of our mistakes, until next time, go turn your mess into a message.
Are you tired of yelling just to get your kids to listen? Are you feeling burdened by the most important job in the world? Are you ready to make that jump to being a more positive parent? I'm Dr. Paul. Maybe you've seen some of my YouTube videos about positive parenting, and now we've put together the Parenting Power Up. This is an 18-module audio course designed to help you become a more positive parent, and you get it as part of your subscription to the Addict to Athlete Family Support Group. Welcome aboard.